always emerge victorious. Sandbox is going to be starting on defense. That is the common trend with them on this map. Thatcher and Valkyrie were their two band operators both times they played this, and they've actually chosen a different operator. They take care of the Lion.
Yeah, so I mentioned that the operator bands might be very interesting. I was actually going to talk about the Lion because it's an operator that many teams have been pushing out on Coastline specifically because it really helps capitalize on the attacking rounds to capture the defenders as they're moving on the map. Thatcher coming out as a ban. Wow! Who would have thought that coming, Parker? It's almost like it's every map of every game, which I do believe is not the case. There's been like 1 or 2 cases, but it's mostly like that.
Thatcher's ban rate is almost 100% so far in this entire event. Mira will join. I wonder if Sandbox will stick with that Valkyrie ban that they've been favoring on this map.
I would against Team 1.
Let's be honest. I think it's a very valuable ban against every team, but no region runs Valkyrie as effectively as Latin America does, especially on a map like Coastline. So getting rid of the Valkyrie is great. As you might have seen on the high caliber reveal yesterday, Valkyrie is getting a bit of a nerf. Yeah. Her cameras don't last outside longer than 8 seconds. At this current case, they last as long as they want outside. So if you're not bringing an IQ or a very keen set of eyes, for both you and I who wear a pair of glasses, maybe we are not the best to hunt down those Valkyrie cameras, but she can be quite strong. Needless to say, she's removed. Lion, Thatcher, Mira, and Valkyrie, the operator bands. First defense from Sandbox coming out is going to be up in Hookah.
Very true, Parker. And as you said, Latsam are very good at playing the Valkyrie. And I would also say, watching them play in the past, they're also very good at finding those Valkyrie cameras. And I think it's a mindset thing. If you're good with the Valkyrie, you understand what the cameras might be, and you understand the value of them. Which means when you're on the attacking side, you will look for them even more so than a regular attacking team. But that won't matter in this case. The Valkyrie's not on the board, but the oNe is this time around. So of course, Sandbox brings that out into the open. The kite being brought here is pretty interesting. This is not typically a wall deny bomb site, but this is the thing, Parker. The map did get changed. We have the wall inside of VIP that kite is reinforcing, and this is exactly the reason as to why you want to pick up this operator. This wall you can deny, with the Thatcher being banned, it's a lot more difficult to get rid of this claw, as you can hide it in a couple of places, and thus you will force the attackers to either go down below, say, you know what, we're not going to go here at all, or figure out a third way of dealing with the claw.
For those of you that might not have tuned in semi-recently, Coastline has undergone a couple stylistic changes, and the biggest one obviously is in that VIP room, Circle Couch, as a lot of you will call it, in your various regional play. A double panel now replacing the big window provides an extra obstacle and another step needed before your execute can be done.
Look at the aggression, you Parker.
Oh my goodness, Elimao is just in, by the way. How do you out-aggress an APAC team? Well, you get a Brazilian team that for the longest period of time was known as one of the more aggressive, if not the most aggressive region. Elimao walks in, takes out Envy Taylor. Envy Taylor has been a standout performer for this team and this core since way back in the day, playing on, for what now? He's been on this roster for 4 years at this point, I believe. Quite a long service.
Very long time indeed.
Yes.
I honestly thought for a moment that that was a defender inside that pink bar until he started shooting a defender in the back. I thought, oh, you know what? That is probably an attacker. So, if you give a ground up, you will be sure that Team 1 will be there to take it away from you. It's very important on coastline defense that you spread out thin, you cover the areas, especially pink bar. But speaking of covering, KDS covers the ground with a grenade, and upon that ground, Sile's body falls. 5 versus 3 now in favor of Team 1 as they're looking really good on this round. Sandbox Gaming has pulled back. They still have VIP control, they still have cocktail control, but that's about all they have. Neskin finds another. Static strikes back to Neskin. That finds one as well, and now it's not the final fight as Static wins it, but in 1 versus 3, there's a lot to go on here, Parker.
Oh, putting that TCSG to good use. Static at the moment, 3 big kills. Static not historically been the strongest player for Sandbox, but showing up big in this particular round. The clock will start to work against them inside of Hookah. For a moment sees the head of the Hibana, but Lagonis is a better shot. And the first round goes to Team 1.
Honestly, Parker, that is a nice try, especially given the position that he was in, given the weapon that he had equipped. I will say that does not get any closer than that, of course, unless he found that 4th kill. And then, would have been up for the ace if he would have clutched it out and a defuse, but A nice try from him. Team 1 with a really good early game aggression. Alemo getting the opening kill, storming through the pink bar, or the sunrise bar as you might refer to it as. And this is again, we need to control the map as a defender, because otherwise it will disappear beneath you really, really quickly. Get one defender in pink bar, get one defender out into office, get a defender into lobby. Yes, the bomb site will be weak, but it is so rare to see attacking teams go straight for the bomb site, because most often than not, you can easily hold that down with 2 players as long as those guns are held up and pointed in the right direction. We're going to kitchen instead. They're not gonna try that again, and to be honest, Hookah is a hit or miss bomb site. It's one of those where, yes, the map got reworked, it got a touch up, and it feels a lot better now, to be fair, than in the past, but you don't have a lot of mobility to work with as a defender, especially when it comes to Hookah, when it comes to Cocktail, when it comes to Base. Once you're stuck in a corner, it can be really, really hard to get out again.
It was one of the problems with VIP way back in the day, was if you wanted to play behind that white shelf and you had somebody played up at the window, there was no soft wall for you to rotate out of. You had to go through the wall that led to the courtyard, which then left you susceptible to somebody playing inside of billiards or watching courtyard as well. And just simply being confined. Now, as you can see in the bottom left-hand corner of that room, they have completely changed it. So you are very capable of getting out of VIP now in comparison to where it was. All that said, it's going to be a kitchen defense on that first floor. Team 1 were quick to the punch on the previous round. Will they be able to get back in again with that same vigor? I don't think that's the case. Maybe a little bit slower pace for them this time as they hunt down Sandbox's players.
Yeah, not just that, but this time around, Sandbox actually has bunkered up inside the sunrise bar, reinforced the walls towards blue, and even put a claw there to stop any heart breach from going out. And we see Sile inside the sunrise bar itself on the Oryx. He'll make sure that that ground will be theirs, and you also see now Team 1 not going for anything, but Alemo is waiting outside with information actively on Sile. So if he walks away, Alemo will be sure to sneak in and take this area.
They've droned out that portion of Sunrise. They have one player still in there patiently waiting on the side of Sandbox. I don't know if Team 1 will be able to conquer that yet or not. Alimao, with the calls being made, will be able to move the team forward. Drones aplenty for Team 1 as they do their due diligence, but now most of them are off and guiding their way in based on that information. The old adage that a drone is only good for 5 seconds or so, and then the information is very outdated, especially if they saw your drone, because they know to move.
Very true indeed, Parker. Alemo doing a great job here, taking it slow as he needs to, and he's now gotten a little bit of the ground, but Sile is kind of right next to him. And Alemo has to either walk down this staircase deep into his side area that is not Team 1's ground, or he's going to walk back up and face a gunfight.
Oh, Ali now still on this position, but I don't think he understands the Oryx of Shile is nearby. Telltale signs of that. T5, very loud and very clear. Envy Taylor, first to die both times. Big difference. This is a completely different timeline, but Team 1 have barged their way on in through service. By the way, Neskin manages to refrag on the shot that he was on. Fetching that diffuser, they have firm control. Static still above. Where is Shile? That's the real question. There he is, taking the engagement against Ali Mal, but you know nothing beats the FAMAS on land. Diffuser planted by Neskin. It's a 1v4. Static in a very similar position to where he was. He managed to pick up 3 kills in the previous round, ultimately died for his efforts, but they've given his position away from above. And there's Ali Mal to pick up his second kill, watching the hatch, eagerly anticipating the player from Sandbox, and it's do not want to play you on. Now, do those maps align with the maps that you are not particularly proficient on? That's a question that needs to be, re-answered every single time you see a new matchup. Here, in a best-of-1 situation, the fact that Sandbox has gone to Coastline 3 times leads me to believe that this is not exactly their most comfortable map. They come here because it is an even ground between the teams that they play on. Now, 2 of those teams, or 2 of the times, that team has been Team 1.
Yep.
So if you're coming back here against the same team, you would assume in the 24 hours that followed your first match yesterday, you have done some work, you have prepped for it, and most coaches are not usually bamboozled in the ban phase. You know typically which 1 or 2 maps you're going to go to. So if you expect Coastline you should be prepared for it. Ideally in the rematch, you are not just prepared, but you have counter-stratted them effectively, and a lot of teams, surprisingly, win the rematch because of that. In this particular instance, Team One on attack on a map like Coastline is doing what we expect and meeting those expectations. I like that Sandbox took that timeout, but I don't know how effective it's going to be so early on.
I mean, you're right, Parker, and they have changed their operator bans, banning out that Lion, so of course they have done their due diligence, or giving it rather, and they have done their studies as well. The thing about Coastline, though, is that it's not a clubhouse. You don't have the 1, 2, 3, the strats, the setup, the execute. I believe that Coastline played the best. It's all about dynamic adaptation. You put in your drones as an attacker, one in office, one in pink bar, one in lobby, one top floor. You see what's clear, then you take what's clear. And as you saw Alemo has done the last 2 rounds, he's had a drone somewhere and just waited around to see when and how Sandbox is moving around that, and then taking that ground for free, because as a defender, you simply cannot hold everything. You gotta pick your fights, and you gotta make sure that you pick the right ones, which Neskin picks the right fight time and time again, finds the opening kill for Team 1.
Down goes Shyle, and Envy Taylor manages to escape being the first casualty. Let this be a reminder that nobody kills Envy Taylor 3 rounds in a row. Only twice will do, but unfortunately Sandbox does forfeit that very first kill. And in this case, the death goes in their direction, not where you want to be. Team 1 with some breathing room, as there's no refrag, and Shyle in particular has not been able to find the scoreboard. Another will join him, it's Envy Taylor. If he can't be first, at least he'll take second place. Sandbox getting hunted for sport right now by Team 1, and they are firmly in control with just a little over a minute to go.
Yeah, I'm curious about this Nova shotgun pick on Ella. It's not typically a close quarter combat bomb site. Of course, if you're playing in its default position on the Sunrise bar, you can somewhat make it a close quarter, but now we got the window. He's so far away. Shotgun barely does any damage, and KD practically gets a free kill. I'm not sure about that shotgun pick, but now in a 2 versus 5, we'll have to strike back as a trade, making that a 1 versus 4, but a full sprint into the hands of Levi shuts that down real quick. It's a 3 for Noel.
And everything is breaking in favor of Team 1 right now. Not just the first 3 rounds, but all 3 opening kills. 2 objectives as well between those 3 rounds. And that one was nearly a flawless to boot. So this is utter domination from Team 1. I question this Ella pick. In North America, we've seen teams play this quite often. I know in other regions you've seen it as well, but obviously my primary focus in the region that I come from, when we see it, teams will try to waste time inside a mudroom, by the windows, even entering over to kitchen. You'll throw those Guzmat mines out. They work not just as a means of slowing you down and disorienting you, but it's also an audio cue. When a Guzmat mine goes off, you know somebody is coming from that direction. But you usually keep the Scorpion, because as strong as Ella's shotgun is, the FO12 is a behemoth. You still need to be able to engage at slightly longer ranges. You saw it with the way that the Ella was playing on the window. If you have the Scorpion, you can potentially get lucky. Even though the recoil is kind of unmanageable, you can still get lucky from that distance. All you need to do is hit the head once, and it allows you a bit more flexibility.
It does, Parker. If you're playing Oregon, picking up the shotgun makes perfect sense to me. You can play on the staircases, play close quarter, and you know the attackers will have to come for you eventually. But playing Coastline, this is a map where you spawn peek, you counter spawn peek, you take really long gunfights, and if you are on a shotgun, you're just limiting yourself so much more. It's the same reason why we don't typically see the smoke and the mute, and if we do, one of those players will typically pick up either the FMG or the MP5K, that's the word, so that you get that 1.5x scope so that you can take those long combat gunfights.
Long range sometimes is a little bit more important, and even though it does tend to shoot Nerf bullets, you can still get a little bit lucky here. I mean, recoil has changed on a number of operators and does continue to evolve. The Roni's recoil being changed, Sophia's carbine, or rather her AR being changed.
R4C, Ash, I mean, so many Ash mains, where are they at these days, Parker? We never see her anymore. The gadget got nerfed, the gun got nerfed.
Alibi's Storm got nerfed as well in terms of recoil. And we say that recoil got nerfed. What we mean is that the recoil was made worse. I know that sometimes it can be a little bit strange. You say, oh, it got nerfed. How is that? recoil got harder to control. Anywho, we are now 1 minute into this round, and it's another attempt at hookah. Unfortunately for Sandbox fans, they have gone through a complete rotation, but they have not been on the winning side of any of it. We talked in the previous round about how Sandbox are losing almost every single major point. Right now, Team 1 are very firmly in control. Halfway mark of the round, and an execute looking to set up on the default spot right next to Billiards, and they're going to try to push back the Sandbox players as deep into that hookah bomb site as possible. Nova's first one to fall, another first blood on behalf of Team 1. They have all 4 thus far, and Lagonis has the diffuser almost planted. The bullets not being able to hit, just nicking the side of that bomb chassis, and there are 8 players still alive as that bomb goes down and starts to run. Harper down for the count. Shile with a kill. A big double kill from Shile, in fact, on the balcony of Hookah. Trying to retake with Static, but this is going to be a tough proposition. Unsure of the locations, there's an Adrenal Surge that goes off, and Neskin uses it to great effect. Shile had a tiny bit of HP. Well, now it's gone. Static, next one in line. Neskin picks up kill number 2, and he's going to find 3 for his trouble. Team 1 up 4-0.
That is such an odd round, Parker. There's no one from Sandbox even below. No C4 comes out. There's Toxic Babes. They go wide. They miss. And Team 1 almost with... It seems like it's effortless. They're not getting challenged. They're not getting contested. And it almost just looks like it's way too easy. I want to see Sandbox Gaming get out on the map with confidence. When the plant starts going down, drop down below. They even had the holes made preemptively in from the blue bar floor up to that default plant spot, but no one was there and even tried to make a play around it. So they'll just slowly get strangled out, and that's exactly what happened. Once that bomb goes down, you're in a lot of trouble. Long angles, and the post-plant positions from Team 1 were just... They were great, Parker, and there's just no way back in for Sandbox Gaming on that round.
Would you classify this as Team 1 simply being the superior team, or are there amateur mistakes being made by Sandbox that you think they just shouldn't be falling for?
I hate using the word amateur because we are in a professional league and every single player is super capable, every single team is oh so good, but I will say that big, crucial blunders are happening here. The first round, it was a lack of map presence for Sandbox, not holding ping bar. Massive blunder. You need to always have a guy ping bar. Fair enough, Parker. The next round, they had a guy inside a ping bar. But then what happened? Well, all of a sudden, Team 1 starts planting. No one's below. So, same blunder. Lack of map control, lack of reaction, lack of adaptation. The dynamic play from Team 1 is nowhere to be seen. Meanwhile, Team 1, they're playing around it beautifully. They have the information, and with that information, might make the right decision time and time again, and that's all they gotta do.
Well put. You could say that professionals act like amateurs, by the way. You're allowed to do that.
I mean, I was once, and arguably still am, a professional amateur myself with my takes and terrible tweets and the things I say on stream, but at this event, I gotta wear a different hat. I have the coaching hat, now I have a casting hat apparently, and I think I need a new set of pants eventually because you can only wear so many hats at once. Flores being brought out from Lagonis, doing great work. That shield had great value, but it is no more. I would say again, Sandbox Gaming not defending the shield, fair play, the Flores is new, it hadn't been seen before, but it just seems like Sandbox needs to get punished by something before they realize what the problem is.
Sandbox as well, really struggling in the offensive department. 7 kills over 4 rounds of action. We'll see how many more are added to that number with the remaining 2 minutes here in round number 5. Team 1 have done what most teams aim to do on attack on Coastline, which is emerge with a 4-2 lead. It's possible that Sandbox can pick up these last 2 rounds, salvage it, and then maybe try to build some momentum. But we want to remind you that there is no timeout remaining for Sandbox. They have taken that timeout. But Ali Mao guns down NV Taylor. NV Taylor has been the first to die 3 rounds of the 5.
What?
And Ali Mao's just in the site. Okay, well, this is an astonishing thing. We are in Hookah. The bomb chassis is within his view. Diffuser just needs to be brought on in. But in the fields of killing is where they will reap. And Team 1 take down 1. They lose Neskin and KDS. Back and forth they go to a 3v3. So winnable. But Ali Mao is still standing there, by the way.
Yeah, I mean,
he's still there.
You can almost see Limo is confused. It's like, no one's coming for me. I can't find any opponents. I say that he finds one, almost gets straight back, but no, it goes where I win.
Nova cannot hit the shots, tries to vault over, take the engagement, but a third kill for Ali Mao. It's all on Static. Static last alive again and again and again. Finds one kill, but these are impactless frags, at least until he can find two more. With Ali Mao still upright and watching over top of that diffuser, Lagonis is successful in the objective. Ali Mao knows where he is, and how about a 4K for his trouble? The Brazilian Pengu switching between every single operator. Cut from the same cloth as you, Nick, and it's 5-0 Team 1.
I am extremely confused as to, first of all, how did Alemo get into sight out of nowhere? And second of all, how is he allowed to stand in that corner for as long as he did? He was like flicking left and right thinking, oh, they're coming for me, but they never did. Eventually, the person instead of Hookah, it was Nova, he figured out the position, whiffed a little bit, went for the vault, got killed by Alemo, of course, but... It almost seems like that was Team 1's bomb site and not Sandbox Gaming's, because there was just a lack of presence on it. And that's the thing about Team 1, is that they play the game dynamically and they're playing the map adaptively. They realized weak side defense. They got the forest, they destroyed that shield early on, and once that shield was gone, they started working on Hookah. But while they did that, I'm gonna presume that Alemo walked in from Akkar. He must have been. There is no chance he rappelled in the big window. There is no way he came from Penthouse or VIP. So I'm gonna put my money on the Aqua take. The flank came through, the kill on site was found, and just with that, full site control was hand-delivered from one team to the other.
Oh, this is the do-or-die moment for Sandbox. They took their timeout after the second round, and it has paid 0 dividends. Not the spot that you want to find yourself in, as Team 1 are, at the moment, they're attending a burial for Sandbox. And this has not been a particularly close match. Almost none of these rounds have been really close. Team 1 very much in control. Cool, calm, collected. They want to repeat, by the way. Oh, never mind if they want to repeat as major champions, and this is the type of match you want to put in. But I guess at this point, Sandbox realized we have to get aggressive. Levy is dead. Ali Mao is down for the count as he falters to that FO12 inside a mudroom, and Team 1 in a precarious position with the first 30 seconds burned off the clock.
APAC finally doing what APAC does best. It's the aggression in the early round. They get the spawn peek from the smoke with the FMG. The shotgun Ella practically runs out the sauna door, injures Alemo, doesn't finish the job, which I think is a wise choice here. He will be put on 20 health, but look at that all of a sudden. Injure kill comes out and they're in the lead, and despite the Ella shotgun, I think everything else has gone perfectly so far for Sandbox Gaming for the first time this match.
Seeing a smoke with the FMG in hand, Harper gets that very first kill onto Levy. You talked about how we don't see a lot of Ashe players. Well, we're not going to see much this round, as they were killed off relatively quickly. So, the 30 seconds that have passed have been Team 1 trying to figure out what the hell do we do next. They've got one body from Sandbox playing inside of Office. Down below, next to the bomb site. It's a double bar bomb site, by the way, for those of you that aren't capable of having a visual reference.
Yeah, I mean, Sandbox Gaming did a good job. They found the initial kills, then they stacked back up down together on the side, and now extending a bit into kitchen. So they know what they want, and they know how they want to do it. Now the question is, will the discipline be there from them so that they won't seek out those 50-50 gunfights? They need to take advantage of the fact that they have the man advantage. If they can swing 2 guys against 1, the odds of them winning that outcome is much, much higher.
Well, still putting some pressure on this A-bomb site now. Throwables and more utility to expend. 2 nades, 2 flashes, 2 smokes still on the board for Team 1. Looking at that utility from Sandbox, well, they're 1 less now. That's a nitro cell tossed out, but it works quite effectively to take out the final set of nades that were available for Team 1. But instead, Lagonis is just in. Every member of Sandbox is still alive, by the way. And here's the plant going down. KDS, no coverage whatsoever. But Shile's taken out by Ali Mao, who jumps in. Can't connect at all, so Lagonis will have to fall off the plant, but they'll swarm him, and they find him. A huge 3-piece for Harper on that round as Sandbox gets on the board in the dying seconds of their defense.
Poor Lagonis, he got the diffuser down, but gets swarmed by basically every single member of Sandbox Gaming. Nowhere to go, not enough bullets to kill them all, and gets shut down. Very nice try from Team 1. They recognized that they didn't have much left. Sledge died to a C4, vertical play is gone, nobody's upstairs. They just walk in for the plant, and I don't even think Sandbox Gaming realized it until the second person took the gunfight, and it all started off Hopper's spawn peek, of course, followed by Nova's shotgun. So, valiant efforts, but now we get the side swap. Sandbox Gaming will have to put in the same incredible effort as Team 1 did on their attacks if they want to see this go the distance. Now, 6 picking off the Maverick makes a lot of sense, and onto the Dokkaebi we go. That combined with the Jackal we saw earlier in the previous game as well, and I think this combination makes a lot of sense. It allows that aggression, the early game, you can really hunt down the roamers and play for the man advantage, and I think that's exactly what they should do. Try and find an isolated player, shut him down, play that 5 versus 4, hack the cameras, get comfortable, and then you can start working your way around the map.
All right, well, what are your predictions here for the side swap in terms of numbers? Do you think there's a potential for a comeback brewing? No timeout available for Sandbox. On attack, a favorable side. But Team 1 have looked very good most of these rounds.
Team 1 has looked really good, and to be honest, I'm expecting a couple of rounds to go in favor of Sandbox Gaming, but I don't expect the match to go that way entirely. I like their orbital lineup, the Buck as well. They can do vertical play from below, they can do vertical play from above. The downside is, without the Sledge, and without the Maverick that got 6 picked away, they only have 1 set of grenades. They do not have a hard breach, so in one way, they have a lot of dynamics, they can do a lot of things. On the other side of that spectrum, they are a bit limited, as this grenade from Static will be half their grenades gone. It gets caught by the disc, and the head of Static does as well from Levi.
Unfortunate first pick for Sandbox when you desperately need to make a statement in this round.
Yep.
You don't have much room for error at this point. Team 1 only needs 2 rounds. That's it, 2 rounds. And it seems at this point it's quite likely. Phone calls come out now, and Nova's going to try to take up space with the logic bomb there, but downed, and all of Team 1 finding their marks. Envy Taylor, first one to die so many rounds, last one alive, and he is miles away from the objective. This is a hookah take, by the way, for the attackers, and he's all the way over by delivery/service, whatever you'd like to call it, outside.
Yeah, it's a bit odd, and for a second I thought the Diana was the clone. He just kind of walked in carelessly, then he cooked the grenade, of course, and I realized. But it seemed like they thought the ground was clear, but then they kind of just walked in empty-handed. And once the first guy got taken out from Sandbox, they stopped. They stopped the push entirely, then they waited 10 seconds, then they went again. They got shut down a second time, and now the last man standing is Envy Taylor, who's being bullied by a lemo. He runs out the VIP balcony. That is just pure disrespect. It's a flawless round. Team 1. And it's a good night as well. There is just nothing left to give for Sandbox Gaming here. Team 1 wants to take it.
And you can't see it, by the way, but Ali Mao ran outside, and then after that he typed GN in chat. Now, this is where the audience participation comes in. If you could do us a favor and also type GN.
GN.
He did get some praise, though. 2 separate members of Sandbox both typing nice shot in the chat, and then a thank you. We have to translate this to you, by the way, because you can't physically see what's going on. I would imagine Sandbox are not currently digging this result so much, but hey, that's okay, because if you look at the live ranking at the top right of your screen, they've actually bumped up at the moment into 2nd place. And why is that? It's because, spoiler alert,
attackers need to locate and
Dark Zero is actually winning their game against Vitality right now.
Really?
So because Dark Zero is winning their game against Vitality, because of the round differential, Dark Zero, at last time I checked, was up 3-0. Sandbox are still in 2nd, despite this absolute pummeling that Team 1 is giving them. They are still in 2nd place. So if Vitality and Dark Zero beat the ever-living hell out of each other, and either Dark Zero wins hugely or they keep it close and Vitality wins a nail-biter, this benefits Sandbox. And we are now at this stage, Nick, where losing games isn't the end of your run as long as the right teams lose and the wrong teams win. And when I say wrong teams, I mean Dark Zero's chances of making it out of the groups right now, especially this group, very low.
Yeah, so what you're saying is there are only winners in this game that we're watching. However, of course, 2 different kinds of winners. Ultimately, you want to put that 7 on your side of the scoreboard first, something that Team 1 is very close to, and Sandbox Gaming are quite far away, to put it bluntly. Levy
Bomb
roaming
located by
upstairs,
attackers.
pretty solo bolo, but he's looking good doing so. And Sandbox Gaming playing it really slow on the early hand of this round. They're kind of all the way out in spawn on both areas of the map. Maybe looking for a freebie. White Repel goes to the roof. Penthouse window goes to the roof. Heads cannot quite get open until the buck rotates over, but it seems like they will try and go for a good old Penthouse VIP map clear. This is a super safe choice. It basically puts them together in the same area of the map. You could argue that it minimizes the possibility of casualties that happened in the previous round where they kind of split the map and they somehow rushed pink, somehow didn't rush pink, and it was a big mess. So much more of a classic take this time around, and I think it's good for them.
Oh no.
Do you have the same one I have?
We absolutely do. So we need to spectate somebody who has a drone and then watch the drone get shot. That's essentially what needs to happen at this point, and hope that they lose access to the gadget. So if you can put some fingers crossed emojis in the chat for us, because we need all of the good luck we can get. And Nova, you need to sacrifice this Twitch drone. That works too!
Nice.
Yay! So that's all that matters.
Yeah, that is. We got audio again in our ears. That is beautiful. And but speaking of beautiful, we were just walking up this hallway, but I don't think Team 1 is around any longer. I think they fell back to side and said, "Psych, you now got this ground." But ultimately, we don't care. You gotta do something with this now. And the buck has gotta come into play, and there it is. Vertical starts getting made. Holes will be destroyed. And, well, we gotta try and look for some players now.
Well, they're going down to the double bars. This bomb site has been played so frequently. I'm actually amazed that Kitchen has shown up but one time, and in fact, Penthouse hasn't emerged either. A lot of teams seem to think that Penthouse is eminently more defendable, over the fact that that double panel upstairs in VIP allows defenders to hold that map control. But let's talk about that should we end up seeing that bomb site, because there's only 30 seconds left. This is where the rubber hits the proverbial road. Everybody's still alive. Envy Taylor's the only one who's taken any real damage, and oh no, down goes Nova. They trade out, Shile falls, and the kill feed is just back and forth. The seesaw between them, leaving Envy Taylor last alive again. And guess what? He is miles away, because his job wasn't to be in the cut and thrust of the action. His job right now, kill a couple people, and then try your best. But, you know, this one is over. No diffuser planted, not needed. That was a swift beating. It was, what, the scoreline before? It was a 7-1, did you say?
Previous scoreline was a 7-2.
7-2. So, in record time, Team 1 speed running these matchups against Sandbox and LATAM